This is Brownie's Podcast!
Dear God, we're back from our road trip. Boom, boom, boom. Somehow, Dog wangled a trip for Jonathan, myself, no Brody, no PointsBet Pomeroy. He's not PointsBet anymore, is he?
He can't be. No.
You need a new nickname, man. They're not our sponsor anymore.
I think Amazon are currently sponsoring it, so maybe Brody Amazon Pomeroy.
All right. It doesn't work. We're open to our suggestions, though, aren't we, Dino? I tell you what, boys, never been prouder of the way this group, certainly 3 out of the 4 of us, represented ourselves down at Hobart.
Dignity.
Alwick Racecourse, we're on fire. I've got a new appreciation for Brown Dog. He's the mayor of... Well, can you be a mayor of Tasmania? Well, he's certainly the mayor of Hobart. He was yesterday. He'll be the mayor of Launceston next week. But, Dog, I must admit, when you threw it up a few months ago that we're going to Hobart Cup after experiencing the Super Bowl last year on the same weekend, I must admit I thought it was a fall from grace. But it wasn't. It wasn't.
Also,
I loved it.
to be completely honest, Dog thought you would never come. He thought you were going to bail.
I couldn't believe that when it was revealed at the dinner table that night after we'd been to the races that Dog had doubts on me turning up because Brody had been saying to him that, you know, Brownie won't turn up.
He planted seeds of doubts that then blossomed in my head over the days leading up to it. I thought you might be laid out, but I thought we represented ourselves with aplomb.
We got to Tassie.
Aplomb.
Big shout out to Jackie from Racing Tasmania. And you know what? It was equally as good as any Super Bowl trip we did. You don't know until you go down to Tassie, Hobart, Alwick races, how bloody much fun it is.
Hey, the people of Hobart are very beautiful, so I'm just going to mention one dodgy one here. There was a young lad at the Hobart Cup, and on his cheek, Dog, massive tat on his cheek that said Destiny.
I'm glad you got to see, because he came up and asked for a photo, so I had one with him, but I didn't want to look too long at it.
Brother.
Destiny.
Destiny.
I couldn't believe my eyes, man. And it was written in that Ben Cousins font.
Oh,
I love that.
The Such is Life, beautiful.
Did you ask him what his destiny was?
To end up in prison, I reckon. It was wild,
He may have been on day release.
Imagine rolling into a tattoo parlour and he goes, "Oh, what are we doing? You know, Southern Cross on the arm, a love heart over your cheek for your mum." Nah, I'm going to go Destiny on the cheek, big fella.
Surely the artist tried to talk him out of that.
Yes, you have to.
Any sane person will go, "Young man, that's a very dumb idea. Do you want to do this?" On his cheek,
I wonder if you have to be breath tested before getting a tattoo on your face like that.
Or
like,
meth
is that
tested.
against the law?
Meth and breath testing.
Yeah, that's meth
Let's cover
testing.
off meth.
Let's cover it off.
Broads, have you got FOMO at any stage?
Yeah, I'm still shattered the fact that I didn't get to go on the trip. And what, did they run out of funds, did they?
Well, I sort of suggested that if someone needed to be left off in terms of budget, that you had Brekkie Radio and it might be difficult for you to get back and, you know.
It doesn't feel fair like that we organise a podcast and we are, as we say, we're a team.
Yeah,
and
man.
Pretty sure that when everyone that plays in a grand final gets a premiership medallion, how come I didn't get to go on the
However,
trip?
when I do look at the logo, the Brownies podcast logo.
Good point.
There's only 3 heads on it.
3 heads.
Proof is in the editing of the
There's
the
no
podcast.
Brody on the Brownies podcast emblem. I must admit, though, I was slightly concerned about the gravity or the size of the Hobart Cup because when we jumped on the Virgin flight down, the Virgin flight attendant, she looked after us, but she did comment to Dino and myself, "Where are you boys going?" I said, and she said, "Are you guys flying down for the Wooded Boat Festival?"
That was on.
The Wooded Boat. She goes, "It's great. They've got rides. They've got food trucks."
Absolutely.
I would not be giving up my Sunday to fly to fucking Hobart to go to the Wooded Boat Festival.
So JB didn't know that I was MC, did you?
I didn't know that.
Late. So
Jeez, it was thrilling when I heard about that.
he was a bit rattled as to how I was going to run the marquee for the day, and I must admit, it's an easier job as an MC when you tip winners. And I knew I needed to get off to a good start because in previous years my tipping has been a little bit less than desired, and my first tip was a winner, JB.
You're on fire.
And then my second tip was a winner, and then my third and my fourth, and that really got the marquee up and about.
Broads, this son of a bitch did not miss.
I went 7 from 8, and it's fair to say that everyone in the marquee made plenty, including DJ Roykin.
The DJ, right, is going through a divorce. He didn't look rich by any means. How much did he give you at the start of the day?
He gave me $50, said, I know nothing about punting. Can you put a bet on for me? So I turned his 50 into 260.
Oh.
Well, it was 270, but I took some commission.
Yeah, of course you did.
Wow.
And then he gave me another 50 from the winnings and said, go again, brother. And I turned that 50 into another 400. So he's ended up winning 600 plus.
Well, that's going to help him through a divorce. $600. I bet you his ex-wife is listening.
He's fine now.
intently.
He's fine.
I think I think they only separated 10 days ago. I don't know if that's public knowledge.
Oh, the last part I said, dog, I'll give you $200. And if I didn't end up doing that, Broads, because my phone was rooted and I had to go get it fixed, so I was late. If I gave Dog that $200, I would have been up 5K at least on that day.
Mate,
That's huge.
$5,000.
That is huge.
Mate, you would have been able to survive a divorce with that sort of money. I've got it here though, and I will. I'll back the dog up because at the hotel beforehand, I said, "Dog, give us the tips." Race 1, Bianca Tom got the chocolates.
Bang,
Race 2, GG Misty. There was 3 GGs on the day.
550.
Race 3, number 12, Princess Mataka.
Best of the day.
Bang. Charlie's bucket. And this doesn't really count in the fourth. Paid $1.24.
That's true.
It won easy.
Bang.
True Scotsman in the 5th ran 4th.
Bang.
That was your only blemish for the day.
blemish.
It's the inevitable. That one easy. That might be in the All-Star Mile. And then race 8, number 5, Military Mission. And I had the great pleasure of standing beside my dear friend Campbell Brown during the running of the race, and just as they launched into the straight about the 200-metre mark, Military Mission just came home with a wet sail.
I was
Now,
getting excited.
Enjoy this. In case you're thinking,
That's at the top of my lungs
did-
in the marquee.
did he just quote Jim Carrey from The Mask? He certainly fucking did. The carry-on was unbelievable and warranted. He was like a god in this little tent, man. Brody, it was wild shit.
An all-time fill-up. No,
At
I'm
one
just
point-
glad everyone could come along for the ride.
At one point, the guy running the whole thing took us out onto the track.
Yeah,
We're like,
AJ.
we're walking down the cup. When we got there too, and Campbell started emceeing, I was a bit depressed for him because at those corporate things, no one's listening to the poor guy with the microphone. But that all changed when the band kicked up a bit later on.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, he was very attentive. They were an attentive crowd, though, because we did have to make an appearance, Dino, didn't we?
Yeah.
We got up there with Brown Dog
Yeah.
to plug Brownie's podcast.
Yes.
And we had a good chat, and I thought they were very attentive, the crowd. They had a few laughs along the way. We told a few stories. But Brown Dog, he's very straight early on, wasn't it? Because we were expecting jokes and a bit of laughter and a bit of entertainment when he opened up the MC, but he's very straight.
Very straight.
He's
Just
very
a gradual
straight.
build. It's just a build for me, as the winners flow, the alcohol kicks in, and the marquee loosens up a bit. And
Yeah.
towards the end,
Yeah. So
you know,
the band starts.
I was warming my voice up for Shallow because JB said he's going to do a duet, so it got to about 5:15.
Yeah.
And I went up to the DJ, I made sure that he had, the Lady Gaga, Bradley Cooper version of Shallow, and I was starting to get in the zone.
And Jonathan Brown pussed out.
I looked across and he just shook his head and said, "No, mate, not
Like-
today."
No, that is bullshit.
You're our fearless leader.
That is bullshit.
That's not bullshit.
Before I knew it, I looked up on stage, and there was Dog. I could hear the early beats of horses starting to ring around. I thought, where the Shallow? Why are we doing Shallow together? And he just taken over. Now, granted, he backed 8 winners, so I wasn't going to get in his way. He was the mayor of the marquee. He was the mayor of Hobart, so he just let him run.
It's not easy for us to compliment Dog. I'm sure you'll understand.
Yes, I know. I feel you.
But the man, he can sing. And listen to this.
I can mime.
This
I
is
can
live audio
Yeah.
from Dog on the stage. There were knickers getting chucked at him.
Yeah, I felt like Tom Jones.
One guy flat out had a bus fat.
No, it was good. It was good times. And the great thing about it is I get to do it all again next Wednesday for the Launceston Cup.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
This is a racket.
Mate, you're on fire. I'll actually take back what I said about your singing ability.
It's unbelievable.
There wasn't a karaoke screen, was there?
No.
So he knew the words,
Yeah.
word perfect, and that's probably part of the reason why we didn't get up and sing Shallow, because we couldn't remember what the words were. We didn't need it, though, because your performance of Horses, I'll take back my comments.
This is a love in here. I'm feeling a bit giddy.
Soak it up, man.
Can you guys start abusing me again? Now that there was some beautiful food in the marquee.
Oh, Jesus.
And some of the stuff that caught your eyes was the Lamingtons.
Brody, look at my eyes. I've never had a Lamington this good in my 36
A
years.
Lamington. Lamingtons aren't good almost,
Brother.
period.
It had a streak of chocolate through the internal core. Do you understand?
Ooh.
Yeah, it was amazing. I started with the strawberry Lamingtons, and I must admit I've always been a fan of Lamingtons since my dear grandmother, Nana Val, who's still alive. She's a magnificent Lamington maker. I thought I've got the bar. So anytime I see a Lamington, I thought I've got to just stack it up. How does it stack up beside Nana Val's? I went for the strawberry one first.
Jesus.
And I was met with that little surprise, that little bit of cream something in the middle. I don't know what it was.
It was a delight.
But it was just a delight just popping off in your mouth.
I heated it up on a spoon and injected it behind the tent.
It's
The best shit I've ever had.
Mate, it was amazing. And I must admit, it's hard for me to say that, but may have topped Nana Val's Lamington.
Wow.
It was, I tell you what, it was neck and neck. It was Bone Crusher, our Waverley Star. But the Lamingtons were fantastic. I thought the strawberry ones were better
Right,
than
okay.
the chocolate ones.
Sure,
but
sure.
I thought, well done to the Hobart Racecourse for their performance in knocking up the Lamingtons.
Young Racing Victoria. Shout out to them. They're the ones
Young
that
Racing Tasmania.
That's
Great
They're
plug.
gonna- they're
Great
gonna love-
plug. Great plug.
They're going to love that plug, bros. Send that to them. Young Racing Tasmania.
I tell you, it was another strength, another highlight of the marquee. There was more than one MC there. They were sort of like old gunfighters in the West, just battling it out as to who their best MC would be. There was Brown Dog inside the marquee,
Yeah.
and then Grace Hayden,
Yes.
daughter of Maddie Hayden. She'd set up camp just out the front of the marquee as
She
the
was-
outdoor MC.
She was attracting better guests.
Yes, and she was doing the TV stuff for right around the racecourse, which I used to have to do double.
Yeah.
And it's fair to say as the day went on and I started to loosen up a bit, my crosses were getting more and more like dribble. And so they decided to can me from doing the TV stuff, the formal stuff. And I just stayed inside. But Grace did a fantastic job, didn't she? She grabbed you for a
I
chat.
thought she was outstanding. I was very excited when she asked me to come over for an interview. And just prior to that, no, actually, we're in the car on the way there. So there was Brown Dog, myself, and Grace. And Grace just said, I said, hey, how's your interviewing skills going? And she goes, yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. I just find sometimes it can be hard to wrap up. You know, and how do you do it? I said, well, I don't do that many interviews, but I said an easy one, you know, at the end of it, just go, we'll be back soon. Just make it short and sharp.
Yeah, bang.
But we don't want to hear you banging on about wrapping up. Just wrap it up. Yeah, we'll be back soon. So she obviously took that note. She asked me a question. I was halfway through a story about my footy career or something like that, and she goes, okay, have a nice day.
Full wrapped up.
full wrapped up
Like a
halfway
Christmas
through an
present.
There's nothing worse, right? Because she's obviously got someone in her ear, a producer saying, we've got to go here. They're just about to jump. The horse is about to load, right? But he can't obviously hear that because he doesn't have the earpiece in. So she's just playing stop the track.
Mate, she's hit me with a sledgehammer.
Another thing, bros. Imagine if something traumatic happened in your life, right? And one person symbolized that. So every time you saw that person, you'd get this sick feeling in your stomach. I speak of poor Johnny Barker, who every time sees Jonathan Brown is reminded of that mark of the year.
Yeah, it was I must admit, I felt bad about it on reflection Sunday night when I put my head on the pillow.
No, you didn't.
I thought, how did the day go? I just did a quick assessment in my brain. It was all success, except for one point where we were getting interviewed on stage. It was Brown Dog, Dino, and myself, and Johnny Barker was over in the crowd, and he just popped his head up late, and I thought, this could be a good way of finishing with a laugh. And I said, and for everyone else, everyone here in the tent in the marquee today, if you haven't noticed, Johnny Barker is there, the great Hawthorn legend. Go over and have a chat to him today about the year that I took Mark of the Year on him in 2002. I said he'll run you through it because I said there's two guys in that situation. One bloke put his body on the line and the other guy decided to make it a business decision.
And poor Johnny Barker's down there with he now works in Restorex where they come down, and if you've been flooded or anything, they got the big fans and everything. So he's down there with clients.
Yeah.
Not footy related at all. So the last thing he wanted is any sort of, remembrance of his footy career or anything. And JB's just gone bang, mate. It was like duck hunting season.
Johnny Barker smiles when this happens, but one day, man, at a corporate golf day, he's going to take a sand wedge to your head.
He's a proud man, Johnny Barker.
ripper.
It's starting to wear.
Deep down, he would hate that.
I noticed the first cracks. Oh, yeah, that was the first sign of some cracks in our relationship.
Because he played the right way, JB, most of the time.
He did
Most
the
of the
right
time.
way. Most of the time.
God.
But anyway, he's a great man, Johnny. Now, Dino,
Yo.
also, too, just a little thing. We're a bit concerned now. You had issues pre-races.
Yeah.
You had the phone issues, you got that fixed, and you did really well to make it to the race course just after race 1. But there was also an issue with your hair.
Yeah.
And you said to me, has anyone got any hair gel to brighten up the hair
Dog,
for
you
the
didn't
trip?
have any.
I never put hair gel in my hair, ever.
Fair enough.
And you said, oh, don't worry about it, boys. I've got soap. Just run us through. I'd never heard about this. So you're telling me that you loaded up. You went to the Alwick race course with a whole bar of soap.
Correct.
In your hair.
Here's a free gift for everyone listening. If you're even if you've got hair gel, the best hair stuff to make it matty, like you've been in the beach, you get a bar of soap. And what you want to do, dog, is you want to get a lather. Get a thick lather in your hands. Run that through your hair. Let it dry. And then you've got malleable hair.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Does it have to be a bar of soap? Because some of the hotels now just have the pump soap.
Yeah.
Can you use that?
Ours only had the pump thing.
I was going to say,
So what did you do?
It didn't work that well.
I was wondering why your hair was.
It was a bit...
Little something about Mary about it.
Yeah, he looked like Cameron Diaz for sure.
That's not true. It did not look like I had jizz in my hair.
How funny is it we're sitting here just reminiscing on a great few days, and I keep looking across to Brody, who's just got no input. He's got nothing to say.
You've been a mute. You
I
contribute
contribute.
this episode.
Did our WhatsApp group benefit from your tips? 'Cause
Nah, we didn't send them through.
that's a dog act, man.
Yeah, it is.
They're
Yeah,
our loyal
I
family.
think we promised to do so as well.
We
Did
could
we?
have made them rich, and we just didn't because we're getting drunk.
I know.
That's
I had a
fucked.
lot on. I had a run down. I was
did.
juggling a lot of balls in there, including ordering an Uber to get to Alwick Racecourse
Yeah, fair
that
enough.
rocked up, and it was smaller than Mr. Bean's car. JB couldn't fit in.
Really?
Couldn't fit in. Grace in the back couldn't actually sit, so had to lie across the back seat. It's one of the smallest Ubers of all time.
I was like Hightower, just sitting there. I had to rip the front seat out and sit in the back seat.
and told the Uber driver the whole way how shit his car was.
A lot of feedback for him. It was a great.
Success.
I love Dino's punting strategy. That was my highlight.
Yeah.
So Dino wanted to go on how's this, bro? He wanted to go on a winning streak. So Brown Dog got us away to a good start, but Dino was keen to have this winning streak where he could go around to everyone and tell him I'll back 5 or 6 winners in a row. So what he was doing, he was backing the horses to place. Now one of the horses.
It's smart.
Now, one of the horses, Charlie's Bucket, it was paying $1.20 for the win. It was paying $1.05 the place.
Did I win or not? Yes or no, did I win? You son of a bitch.
He's taking $1.05 the place.
And then the inevitable, $1.65 it wins at. He was paying $1.16 the place. The Brown Dog was going around like he'd won the $30 million, Dino like he'd won the $30 million lottery, high-fiving everyone, but you did get on a streak.
What a day. This is going to be the year of boys trips, so I can't wait for the next one. A big thanks again to Young Racing Tasmania.
Yeah, Jackie and Racing Taz for sorting it out. And they got you back too in time for the Super Bowl, which was disgusting. I thought that I just got that one through, but you changed your flights on your own. Well done.
Kiss our ass. Back in a second.
This is Brownie's Podcast.
Welcome back to Brownie's Podcast.
Magnificent.
Hey, any footy stuff we're going to tick
Well,
off?
captaincy chat at the moment. So big news out of Adelaide. Jordan Dawson has become the captain of the Adelaide Footy Club after only being there for 12 months.
That's amazing, JB. 12 months.
I think he won the best and fairest though, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, he won the best and fairest. So he's had a fantastic first year. And was
Big impact,
highly,
though, for a
big
guy that
impact.
hasn't been there long.
Absolutely, but highly rated at Sydney for his leadership qualities he was, Dog.
I think it's a credit to him, because it's always tough to change clubs. You get there, you want to earn the respect of your peers and play good footy. He's done that. He's kicked goals after the siren to win games, and now he's the captain. There's two other captaincies that are sort of juggling.
Just quickly before we move on, there was an article written about, Tom Duday now, you would be, all the clubs would be into him because he would be blindsided by the fact that he wasn't announced as captain. I wouldn't. You would have thought that Tom Duday, I'm not saying he's thinking this, but you would like to think that if he's a real leader and has real leadership potential, he would have better character than that.
Agreed. And you don't get blindsided too often in a footy club. These discussions would have probably been happening, over the best part of the pre-season.
You would have thought so.
Two other high-profile clubs that are looking for a new captain. Hawthorn obviously is one of them.
Who's going to be?
Well, I think it's James Sicily. I think it's clear as day.
He did a good job there. And it's probably helps him just level him out a little bit too, doesn't he? Because we know he's very passionate.
Yeah. He's still got that wild streak in him, which we like. But young group, important player for him, plays down back, just the general. And Geelong is the interesting one because, JB, you've been at a really successful club where senior players are getting a bit older and closer to retirement. Do you lean towards a Paddy Dangerfield, who might only have a year or two left, or do you look towards the next generation of leader and maybe appoint a 26-year-old that can do it for 5 or 6 years?
I'd go to the next generation. I'd sort of think at this stage of Paddy Dangerfield's career, he's a leader anyway. Do you really want that responsibility of being the captain? Because, like it or not, there is extra responsibilities with your time. Now, we know Paddy lives down the coast and he loves the surfing and fishing and all those sorts, but you're getting dragged into the club for extra function here, extra sponsor thing there.
That's why Nat Fyfe walked away, right?
That's why Nat Fyfe walked away. Probably why Rory Sloane would have walked away at Adelaide. I walked away back in 2014 from it as well because I just didn't want those extra responsibilities. As you get older, you need to focus on your well-being physically and I suppose keeping fresh and making sure that you've still got the enjoyment for the game. And every time you have this extra sort of commitment, it drags away from the enjoyment of the game. So I look at Paddy Dangerfield and I go, look, dominated the final series. He's a premiership player now. Yep. Try and get another 2 or 3 years out of your body without having to worry about the title of being a captain. Yep. So Tom Stewart or Mark Blitzarves for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think Paddy Dangerfield's 32. He got leadership written all over him. But do you want that? I love Tom Stewart. I love Tom Stewart ever since he set foot in that footy club.
He's keen to do it as well.
Yeah, 29. Hardly had any injuries. Pretty durable guy. And I think he can have it for 3 or 4 years. And that then gives Jack Henry and the younger brigade
Atkins
a little bit more time to evolve into the leaders that they want to be.
Rhodes.
I think as all these clubs are appointing captains, that, you know what, we have never appointed a captain here at Brownie's podcast, and we are all equal parts. So I would think that for next week, that each of us should prepare a speech as to why they should be captain of this podcast.
Okay.
I'm a liability because of my weekend activities. I'm pulling myself out of the race.
Yeah,
right
and
now.
I've never really sought leadership because I just like getting loose.
I'm one Kmart plate video away from getting fired.
Hey boys, obviously you've forgotten that Ben Cousins was captain of the West Coast Eagles.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just because you're a loose unit doesn't preclude you from being a captain.
I'm back in.
So I think that's a good suggestion. I think we've got to come back. Just a one paragrapher.
Yeah.
Just short and sharp.
Yeah.
Done.
We don't want to drag up. We don't want to get wrapped up Grace Hayden style. Just short and sharp to
All
the
right.
point.
I don't want to talk about the Super Bowl game for too long because it'll put me to sleep, but kind of a shit ending, right?
What I will say, an absolute cracking game, but what a shame the end. They
What the
give
hell?
that penalty away with a minute to go, and then it just goes down to nothing. Now, look, they're the rules of the game.
Right.
But it was one of the all-time great Super Bowls,
was great.
except for the last minute. So that was a great shame.
Was it there, John, that call, the penalty?
Tiggy touch. It's a bit like AFL. You're a bit like put the whistle away. Game.
Yeah, if it's a blatant hold
Yeah.
late in the game, you just have to call it. But something so pedantic in such a big moment, I don't think they should call them. I don't think Super Bowls and big games like that should be decided on the referee's whistle.
To change the course of the game, no doubt about it. I'll tell you what, one thing I will say about it, Aaron Sipos, former St Kilda player, there was a lot of publicity around it this week. He came back, he played as the punter for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I really feel for him because late in the game, he had a shocking punt. It only went about 30-odd metres, and it was returned for the longest punt return in Super Bowl history. Returned very close to the touchdown line, and then Patrick Mahomes in the next play scored a touchdown. So, and he has been pulverised
has he?
by all the Philadelphia fans, and they're brutal. Philadelphia love their sport.
One bad kick. You're like, do you know what I
And
mean?
he only got 2 kicks for the day.
Yeah,
Hasn't played much. I don't think he's played at all the last few weeks.
He's been
injured. He came back just for the Super Bowl, but now he's been absolutely pulverised by all those fans, which is a real shame.
The Philadelphia fans turned a car on its head before the game.
I love that.
And they were people were going around and greasing all the poles in the streets in anticipation that they would try and climb them.
Were they really?
Yeah, true story with grease.
So the grease was to counteract the climbing.
Correct. Made it impossible, too slippery. So, isn't it amazing? Racing that went into it.
I'd hate to see what they do with Aaron Sipos' car now. Jeez, it'd definitely be on blocks.
Did you think that Rihanna's show was good at halftime?
No, I thought it was ordinary.
What the? All right, get your critique out of the way. That's bullshit.
No, I just thought it was. I love the movement of it. You know, when they're up and moving now. I know, granted, she was pregnant, which was a big surprise to everyone.
Baby number 2 so quick.
What did you want to do? Do a backflip?
No, well, actually, it actually looked good, but there was no activity. Mate, I was there last year for Snoop and, when 50 Cent came out, Upside Down, or Eminem. So
The
it was always
geriatric
gonna be,
rappers.
it was always going to be hard to live up to that, but. I just didn't. I just didn't have a lot of. I didn't think it had a lot of movement.
I fundamentally disagree. I thought she was an absolute boss. I like the concept of it. All those white sperms. People are saying that were sperms.
Really?
Representing sperms.
Like what you put in your hair
Correct.
for the races.
The backup dancers. Man, and she just carried it wickedly. It was 12 minutes of back-to-back
Songs
bangers.
were great. The songs were great.
I'm not potting
Take
her
it
up.
back.
I'm
You're
not
wrong.
potting her singing ability.
You're wrong.
I'm just thinking, for me, it was just a bit of.
What would you rather? Marina Pryor?
I think so. Marina Pryor would be good.
Iconic performance.
Nut Bass and the Rogue Traders.
Dino, she did. There was a fair bit of criticism, though.
Yeah, well, I think that-
I was panned a bit. So I'm not sitting here panning it, but it was panned from a fair majority of people.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
Hey, boys, I want to run something past you, and I want the listeners to interact with this, and we need some feedback. I was walking down the street the other day, and I walked past a work site. There was a couple of tradies, and there was some girls walking past, and someone, I don't know who it was, but one of them wolf whistled, right? And I stopped, and I looked back.
Did you think it was for you, brother?
Yes,
I
you
hope
did.
it was. I started to look back and I thought, geez, like, I wonder if in the history of wolf whistles, and they have been around for probably ever, right? If it's ever actually worked. Like someone's walking along the street, they hear the wolf whistle, they stop, they look back, they see the person that's done it, they cross the road to start up a conversation with them, they end up, going on and dating or marrying the person, doing whatever they need to do on the back of the wolf whistle. I don't think it would have happened in the history of wolf whistles ever.
No.
Has it ever worked for you guys? Has it worked for the listeners? Do you do it with the 2 fingers in the mouth? I've been working on a technique where I can do it constantly, so I don't need to breathe. I just go.
That's not a wolf whistle.
Dog, that sounds like you're trying to attract birds. Like,
Yeah, it does.
that's not a wolf whistle, man.
Well, I've never done it, but if I did, the continuum of it might
But
be.
isn't the body of a wolf whistle
Yeah.
that sound? I know I can't whistle.
So
You'd be able to whistle being a country boy. My uncle is one of the great whistlers of all time, or he's one of the great whistlers, but not when it comes to wolf whistle. When the greyhounds are running down the beach, he's trying to whistle them back. But the old wolf whistle happens for the construction side a fair bit. But
it does.
In the history of humanity, has it ever led to success?
A
Certainly
date?
would.
Nah, mate. There's no
bullshit.
hope.
I'm telling you.
So
No
we
way.
ran
It
this
happened
conversation
somewhere.
past a couple of people in the tent,
Yeah.
right? Because I wanted to, and they basically said, as soon as you hear that wolf whistle, you turn around, you give them the finger, or you immediately think absolute pigs, sleazy pigs. And I agree.
Grace had said she'd been wolf whistled at.
Regularly.
Yeah, regularly.
and she
which
said-
I didn't think it was a thing anymore.
She just
a
said, it
dying
makes
thing.
me think they're just absolute bogan
Seedy.
nufties.
Yeah.
She said, never have I gone, oh, wow, my heart is melting after being whistled at, you dickhead.
It's a good chat to have. I think that 99% of women would hear a wolf whistle and immediately think, you chauvinistic pig of a man. But
I might have tried it in high school a couple of times.
Did you? I've never
when
tried
you're
it.
just sort of finding you, probably in the bus fat days. Yeah. You're just trying to find your feet.
and did it work for you?
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
No, I would have done it from a VN Commodore, and they just would have thought, "Go away, you cockhead."
I've never even tried it, Brody.
I can't whistle.
Yeah, so let us know. Let us know. I'm desperate to find the one person out there that has been wolf whistled at that's turned it into some sort of proper relationship.
That'd be good. It'd be tempting though if you're a good whistler. If you're a good wolf whistler, it'd be tempting just to rip it out, wouldn't it?
Hey, I've got Ash Gardner, the newsreader from Nova 100 in Melbourne, to come in because she's gorgeous and surely.
She definitely would have been wolf whistled at.
Gardner, how you going? Come
Training
in.
for triathlons.
Now we're talking about the bogan concept of wolf whistling, right? Like getting wolf whistled at.
Yeah.
Have you been wolf whistled at?
Yes.
And is it repulsive?
How regular is this happening nowadays? It's a dying art, isn't it?
Look, yeah, not as frequently, but it tends to happen at the most random times. Like you're going for a run or taking the dog for a walk.
Yeah.
And I think that is what throws you because it's totally out of context. You're not expecting it. So when it happens, it takes you aback a bit.
Is any part of you flattered or are you just fully like, piss off?
You kind of become immune to it after a while. You're just like, oh, whatever.
So would there be any possible scenario that someone would wolf whistle at you? You'd stop, you'd look, and you go, oh, actually, he's really cute. And want to engage in it or not?
Never.
There we go.
That's a good point.
I think this search will take us a hell of a long time to
I'm
find.
not going to rip my shirt off if someone wolf whistles at me, that's for sure.
Any fingers? You give him the bird at all?
No, I never
No
react.
reaction?
Never react.
Okay. And is there one specific group of people, do you find? We don't want to label them all with the one brush, but tradies sort of...
It's either younger guys hanging out their car window or tradies.
Right.
Yeah, you tend to find tradies
It's
tend to do it.
The cowards from the car window because it takes no courage to do that from a moving car.
And like, would that person come up to you at a bar and introduce
Hell
themselves?
no.
Well, maybe people need to change the tact of the wolf whistle and start doing it at venues where they could actually then, you know,
So
you
you
do
walk
it at
in.
60 kilometres an hour in the car and whoosh, mate, you're gone. Even if the girl wanted to stop, you're gone.
So you're suggesting to Ash maybe that if you're on the other side of a bar, if someone wolf whistled at you, Ash, you know, you might be willing to engage in the conversation. You think that's a bit more sexy, do you, Doc?
Chances of engagement aren't any better at a bar, I can tell you right now.
Gardner, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Bros, if people have had success, how do they get in touch with us?
Brownies Podcast Instagram.
Into the mic, brother.
The Brownies Podcast Instagram. DM us your wolf whistling success story.
It just wouldn't have happened.
Isn't it a great topic?
Yeah, ads back in a second.
This is Brownies Podcast.
Welcome back to Brownies Podcast. What do you got? Oh, subscribe. If you love our show, tell a mate and rate us and all that stuff on where you get your podcast from, Brody.
We learnt last week, and I think we know this of Campbell already, that he is very balanced and very neutral in his political and social beliefs.
Not true.
Upon every single topic. And, mate, that show that you were on with Carl Stefanovic,
verdict.
Mark Latham, Bob Catter, just sounds like it was God knows what, like an absolute shitfight.
Change the landscape of the political world in Australia.
sure
In a
did.
short
right?
period of time.
sure did.
For a short period
Is
of
it
time.
weird being on the same side as Bob Catter?
Well, we weren't on the same side because he's very right and I'm a
Very right.
kilometre further right than him, so I couldn't actually see him even though we were on the same side.
Yes.
Well, I thought, knowing this, and you know that he's very balanced, that I would present to him some issues and have his, I don't know, just have him express his thoughts on each one of those.
Okay,
so it's our version of the verdict.
so essentially, Dog's the Prime Minister and he's at a press conference? Is that what's
Yeah,
happening?
let's call it a press conference.
All right, here we go.
Foreign Affairs Minister, I prefer to
Okay.
be.
All right. What are your thoughts on global warming?
Well, I think half of it's a myth.
Jesus
a lot of the
Christ.
data that they try and produce can be actually beaten back down the other way. I don't
Half it be a miss.
I don't. Well, I think all the money and energy and effort that's going into trying to stop global warming is a bit of a waste.
Brother, polar bears look like greyhounds at the moment.
Yeah, they thought by this time that Fiji and all these places would be fully underwater,
So
and
it's
they're
not happening.
Did they think that Fiji would be completely underwater?
You're an
The
insane man.
Maldives wouldn't exist anymore.
You're a crazy person.
They spend billions of dollars trying to get nickel and things out of the ground to put into cars so they can be more friendly for the world, but it's getting hurt the other way with the mining.
Jesus.
I think that.
Next issue.
I think that was a raging success.
They were just words.
All right. All right, next
A random
next
bunch
issue.
of words put together.
US tensions with China.
They got to be pretty careful, the US, because China are absolutely a superpower, probably more than America. They're still stuck in the past, thinking that they run the whole world. And China, being a communist country, they like to test the boundaries, like we've seen with the balloons flying over their airspace. You know, that should have been shot down immediately, but they gave them 5 or 6 days grace.
What did Donald Trump do to their credibility as a superpower?
I think they were scared of Donald Trump, so they towed the party line. There's a weak leadership in the White House at the moment, and China are taking advantage of it.
All
right.
I'll tell you what,
Great.
I'll contribute to this too.
Okay.
All I know is that I wouldn't want to be going hot air ballooning in America at the moment.
No.
For Valentine's Day.
Jump there with the chocolates.
We'll go over the Grand Canyon. Bang!
Sweetheart, is that a red dot on your forehead? Bang!
All right.
Next.
I think that was comprehensive. So, third, bullying and harassment in the workplace.
Shouldn't happen. There's no place for it. Report it. Go to HR, and they can do what they want.
Does
with
that
it.
include wolf whistling?
No wolf whistling, no groping, no drinking too much,
Mate,
no
they're all...
antics at Christmas parties.
You don't have a clearance on any of those issues. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Treat everyone the way you'd like to be treated, which is
Respect.
fair.
Have you got one more?
I've got 2 more. Artificial intelligence.
This is one that's just crept up on me recently. I believe that you can go to a website and ask them to like write poems and books and storylines for movies and everything, and they spit it out in this record speed that is going to change civilization. It's going to be very hard to stop your kids from using it, which is a bit of plagiarism.
On that, Brody, you could probably formulate some questions using AI. We should do that one.
No, we
week.
should.
Final one.
Guns in the US.
No place for guns. I think that they're they call it what, the First Amendment. Everyone's right to protect themselves.
Fifth Amendment?
The fifth, is it? The best thing that ever happened in this country is when John Howard, after the tragedy at Port Arthur, said guns are gone, and they had that amnesty. Everyone gave their guns, and since then we've had probably the best record in the world of no gun violence. So good on you, Johnny Howard. That's it's a great thing.
You know when you watch like old cowboy...
spoken.
Hey,
Did
well
any of
done,
that
dog.
surprise you?
No, a little bit, mate. That was fantastic. But you know when you watch like an old Western movie or like Deadwood or something, and it's gunfights,
Yeah.
and that's like cool. That's what it's actually like in some parts of
Yeah,
America now.
Chirac.
I nearly saw the bloke at
Yeah,
shop.
Chicago's called Chirac.
Remember in Super Bowl last year?
Yeah.
Day after the Super Bowl, we went down to Venice Beach.
He actually should have got shot, that guy.
Well, he maybe should. That's arguable, but he had 5 machine guns trained on him from the coppers.
And a knife or something in his front seat, and he wouldn't get out of the car. So he was lucky.
You can see how it escalates so quickly.
Before we wrap up, it is time for...
What a world. Now, this week's What a World, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that I posted a couple during the week because I'm getting that many What a Worlds sent to me or bobbing up as this world is becoming more and more tragic. That God is not male. The Church of England is giving God new pronouns. The priests are already referring to God as they and them, and they've rewritten the Lord's Prayer to start with our mother and father. That was outrageous to me, so I just posted it up there online. But the What a World I want to come up with is a good one.
Wait, so we're just moving on from
Yeah,
that.
just- What was that?
As a staunch religious man,
Yeah.
you're just mad
Why
and
did you feel the need to post that?
Well, I think that every sane person on earth has a clear understanding that God
has a
Jesus
dick.
Christ, if you believed in him, which I don't, I'm an atheist, is a male. I mean, there's no debate around that.
Was Jesus well hung?
He was,
He had a bus fat.
yeah. Well, some would say he wasn't hung at all. He was nailed to a cross.
Sorry, what's the next
wow.
one?
North Korean authorities are demanding that every single girl and woman in South Pyongyang,
So
and
where
North
was that? I'm just
Pyongyang.
looking it up.
South and North Pyongyang, North Korea, right? Change their name. If anyone is called Ju-ae, Juae, the name of Kim Jong-un's daughter, he has come out and said no one else in this country is allowed to be called Ju-ae. So if you have been, you need to immediately report to the Ministry of Security
To be shot.
in Jeonju City, summoned, and
Tased.
re-register your name because there's no residence are allowed to be called Jew A. So he's just basically come out and said, you know what? She's 12. Your name's Jew A. There's not another person in this country allowed to be called it, so he's just banned it. So he's making everyone, even if they're called Jew A, change their birth certificates. I thought that was fucking outrageous. What a world.
He's done it. Hey, I did the math. There's 30 sleeps until round 1. I can't wait.
Really?
I can't
And
wait.
West Coast apparently had a good pre-season. Yeah, that's why you're paying attention.
8 sleeps to the Launceston Cup. You blokes want to come?
I'm in, man.
You're not included.
Well done, boys. Very
next
proud
week.
of you. Brody, you missed out.